Hi there, April from Piano Lessons Info here. Today, because I happen to have 3 piano keyboards in my home, I've had to buy a new one, so I just thought I would make a quick, I thought I would just make a video about the 3 of them, comparing the differences and letting you know my thoughts on them. So this is the first one. I just had trouble getting the camera low enough, but we'll have a good look in a minute. Okay, so this is the Yamaha Aruis YDP142. So I have taught piano on this piano keyboard for about 10 years. It surprised me by failing. So what's happened, I'll turn it on. So when you turn it on, it does take a minute. It's not all the piano's fault. I live by the ocean, and so I do have a lot of sea breezes from salty air come through. Okay, so this is what's happening now when I turn it on. So this happened in the middle of actually all the way through one of my piano lessons with a new adult student, which was really terrible the other day. So I really didn't want to move on from this one, but I've had to. So, in terms of my review for this piano, it is not perfect. None of them are perfect, but it is quite good. And, okay, I'll just turn the volume down. This is what happens now. So that's just a song that was recorded in its memory bank, and so now it plays it over and over again. The other issue I'm having right now is that if I play something, it'll change its sound. So it's got lots of different sounds like harpsichord and strings and stuff. So sometimes when I played, it would change the sound like every note. Okay, so I just can't use it at all anymore, because it just keeps playing that song. So I can't even play free. Well, I could play over that, but whatever. Okay, so what I like about this one is that the keys felt good to play. So the action is fine. All of them, I tested them all to see kind of the loudness of just playing. They're all pretty similar. The other ones I have is a Donner and a Casio. So that's what we'll compare. And what surprised me, I borrowed the Casio from someone, and what surprised me when I played it is the Casio's ability to go super quiet and super loud without adjusting the volume. So that is the biggest downfall for this Yamaha. It's overall really good. It feels good to play. It's got 3 pedals, and they're all stuck on. so that bit is also good. But it does not go super quiet and super loud. And so if you're playing classical music or teaching piano, that is kind of important sometimes. So for the only way around is to adjust the volume. So I was surprised with the Casio that it had the ability to do that, where this one didn't. So in terms of the other thing I quite liked about it is it's got a music stand, but you can just put it down. So if you were using like a computer, sometimes I would put my laptop here if I needed to read music off of that. So that's one thing I liked. Overall, I liked it quite a bit. I was disappointed that it stopped working, as I expected it to last for quite a long time. But I don't know, it just didn't. So I could have replaced the controller inside of it. But the people who do that here, because I'm in Australia, either we're 7 hours north or 5 hours south. So wasn't a possibility for me, but that could be a possibility for others. But there's just no one here who could do that, and the part was half of the cost of the piano. So I did consider buying the same one again, which I think in Australian dollars about $1,400 and I didn't, because it's a big commitment to make with the sea air, basically. So it's not the first time I've heard of this happening. I had a former piano student who came home from vacation and just nothing worked because everything was corroded inside, and she is right on the waterfront. So that's just what can happen here. So I had a few issues, if you want to know the issues. Like, it was changing sound, playing songs, flashing lights in the beginning, and sometimes just it didn't work. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to play this one for you because it just keeps playing the song over and over, but overall, I liked it. Okay, let's move over to the other ones. Hi there. Okay, so now we are over at the Casio. So this is not mine, but I was able to borrow it as a stopgap for my piano lessons. So Casio is actually probably the first brand of piano keyboard I had gotten. I've also had a Hemingway at one point, but I didn't like that one because of the sound. The sound was really loud when you press down the keys, so I didn't like that one, and I had the Yamaha after that. So this is the Casio CDP 100, and as I said before, what really surprised me when playing, so if I play, this is at, let me put it a bit high. What I like about it is that you can go extremely quiet or extremely loud. Not extremely, not as good as a piano, but this is actually the closest one in terms of dynamics that you can do. However, it doesn't sound that great. Casio is always a really good introductory keyboard. Lots of people have them, and they're okay. Like, I can't teach on one. I can't teach on one. It's not good enough, but like for a few lessons, it was okay. One of the issues is the pedal is just plugged into the back, so it's not a real pedal, but it's one of those. It's this kind of pedal. So I just don't like these very much because they slide away and things like that. So that's the pedal most people have when they first begin learning, and that's fine. But for more of a advanced player, that kind of pedal is not good enough. So, sorry. Okay, the Casio also has a few different sounds. So does the Yamaha. The Donner doesn't, and I don't care about that at all. My daughter would prefer only strings, but that's okay. So in terms of action, it's fine, I think. So the short is okay. The sustained is okay. Okay, that one is not quite as good. The Yamaha is probably the best at that. The Donner, I think, is also not that great. It just doesn't hold, and it fades kind of quickly. So, but other than that, that's okay. I think people who really care about the sound might not like this one as much because it doesn't sound super good. The Yamaha has a really nice sound, and that one's probably the best in terms of sound. This one's the best in terms of dynamics, and probably price point is the cheapest. I don't know how much it would be now. I didn't buy this one. This one I think can also change key because someone's left a note on the music stand about that. So in terms of the music stand, it comes off and it goes back on. This is also really easy to move, so we were able to just detach the bass and move it. This one is also not very big, so it wouldn't be that hard to kind of find a place for it in your home. So this is probably one step up from the keyboard that you get with the stand sold separately. So this one is a bit more substantial and easier to play like that. But yeah, that's the Casio. Okay, now we are at the new one. So this is the Donner DDP 80. Okay, so this one was half the price of the Yamaha, and part of the reason that I bought this one just because of where I live, it could could get ruined from the saltaire. So I didn't want to do such another big financial investment if something was pretty close, basically. So this one is quite nice looking. I'll show you after. It looks a bit 70s in my, which is back. So that one's okay. This one I also didn't realize when I was teaching on the Casio that I had nowhere to put anything on the sides. So the Yamaha and Donner both have bits on the sides where you can put something like a metronome or just stack music. The Yamaha has more space and the Casio has almost none because this area is the speakers. So in terms of the touch and feel, they all, if I turn it off for a minute, they all have that sound really when you play, so there's not much difference. What I find is the Casio is kind of, in terms of touch, like it's kind of like you require the least amount of finger strength. Okay, so like it doesn't take as much to press down the keys. The Donner is a bit more firmly weighted and probably more than the Yamaha. And this isn't necessarily good or bad, except I think the really flimsy keys aren't that great. But this one is a bit more substantial, so it requires a bit more to play. And it's the same as any piano. Like every piano has its own unique way of playing, and that's kind of what it feels like with this, is that it's just a firmer touch. So I did buy this because I read reviews from people who were piano players who said they liked the feel. So those reviews are kind of what sold me, actually. And the price, because this was $660 Australian. I think it's similar in US dollars. Unless you buy it from the Donner website, was more like 1,100 Australian. So I don't know, I found a cheaper price. So the pedals are 3 pedals.
Okay, so just
attached,
to give you a better look
so
of
it's not the flimsy pedal that sticks under. It's not attached to the bass, but it's a set. So I will show you that. And in terms of the sound, this is where I feel like there might be the biggest drawback. If you really care about sound, a little bit it sounds like a real piano, so there's that aspect. But when you play really loud, it seems a little bit like it's too loud for the speakers. A little bit. So that's kind of the sound of that. The one I played over there, that required more finger effort on my part to play. That's the staccato notes. So that's fine. And what I've noticed also on this one playing is I can hear myself. So when you're a piano player, you know you're supposed to play thirds, like 2 notes at once, exactly at the same time. And I can pick up my mistakes somehow easier on this one, or maybe it just requires more effort a little bit, which is fine. The other really nice thing about this one is with the stand does come off pretty easily. You can just slide it out, but it's got this here, which none of the other ones do. And one of the problems sometimes is like your music, especially in my house, is the music flies around. So, and I often have people say to me, why don't they just put something there to hold your music down? So this one does have that. If I just grab this book, which is a really big book, and one of the frustrations with this book is that the music goes everywhere, but it's held down by this little piece of wood. So that is really a nice feature.
Okay, so just to give you a better look of this piano, this one's got 2 legs, which is a unique styling, and this is what it looks like in terms of the pedals. So for me, that's good enough because they don't slide they don't slide away. And that's what that bit looked like there. The Yamaha, that's what the pedal is. So there's, oh sorry, this, the Casio, the pedal looks like this. Okay, that's the Casio there. That's what that one looks like. So just to sum up, I was happy with the Yamaha while it worked, and you can hear on the other videos on this channel, I used it for every video, so you can go and have a look and hear what it sounds like. But I was happy with how it worked. I was happy to teach piano on it because it was quite close to a real piano, and I thought that was the closest electronic thing I could get that was similar to a piano. So that I was happy with that one. I wasn't happy that I'll probably have to throw it out. That seems just wrong. So I wasn't happy with how long it lasted, because it didn't last nearly as long as I expected. In terms of the Donner, I think I'm happy with that. I bought it really quickly, so just because I needed it as soon as possible to teach piano on. So I am quite happy with how it's turned out. I think it will be fine for teaching. I'm not 100% sure on the sound. If we play really loud, if that will be satisfying enough. But overall, it's quite nice in general. I wouldn't buy a Casio for myself. If you are a brand new beginner student and you're not sure what you should buy, you can always go small and cheaper and see how you go. If you think you are going to definitely play for a number of years, or if you're looking for something for a child who is learning and they're past the beginner stages, then the Donner might be a good middle of the road choice, just because it's good enough. It's not a real, nothing matches a real piano. So if you can get a real piano, that is always the best thing. But it just depends on your situation. You do have to tune it, and like for where I live, we have to get it upstairs, and that's just too hard. So that's why I don't have a real piano in this house. I have one in my parents' house. The Yamaha, I don't think you could go wrong with that one either. The only drawback was that it doesn't go very quiet and it doesn't go very loud unless you adjust the volume as you go. So hopefully that helps you in terms of making your decision, and let me know which one you choose. Okay, bye.